Hello, guys. My name is Ahmed Khalif for the unscripted talks here in Durban Radio. Today, what I want to bring forth is what happens if a cabinet secretary is fired and reinstated back to the same position that he was holding. So I'm bringing this with regards to what President William Ruto just did. You remember when there were so much protests from the Gen Zs and the millennials for the reject finance bill, and later on escalated to Ruto must go. And finally, the President Ruto deemed it fit to dissolve his cabinet, which is equivalent of, you know, dismissing them. It's just like you've been fired, but in a very soft way. You know, there's someone who can call you in the office and tell you you are fired. There are those who will call you, talk to you, and tell you the reasons as to why certain measures have to be taken. You can be given a leave that is not time related. It can be a month, 2 months. It can be a year. There are so many ways of, so many soft ways of dismissing someone. So when the president said that he dissolved the cabinet, that was just one way of doing it softly. My question is very simple. Is there anywhere in the Constitution of Kenya that gives the president the liberty to select the laws that he wants to follow, or other laws that he wants not to follow? Does the president enjoy immunity of not following the Constitution to the letter? It will be better if we get to know all these, because it's only for that person who is not intelligently capable to understand that anyone who has been reaping from the proceeds of corruption is not fit to hold any public office. Neither will they even be fit to hold any of the private sector unless it is of their own making. Because who will trust you? Your integrity is lost. So where can we put integrity and trust in this regime led by President William Samoei Ruto? So, what does the law say about a state officer who has been dismissed? And actually, I'll be doing this with a reference to the Constitution of Kenya, Article 75. Yes, Article 75, and which actually talks about conduct of state officers. And as usual, I always like reading verbatim, word for word, because I don't want to mince my words, or I don't want to be creative when I'm trying to bring the writings or the laws that are well enshrined in the Constitution. So, be with me to the end. Article 75 of the Constitution of Kenya, Conduct of State Officers. 1. A state officer shall behave, whether in public and official life, in private life, or in association with other persons, in a manner that avoids a. Any conflict between personal interest and public or official duties. B. Compromising any public or official interest in favor of a personal interest. Or C. Demeaning the office the officer holds. 2. A person who contravenes Clause 1 or Article 76, 77, or 78. 2A. Shall be subjected to the applicable disciplinary procedure for the relevant office, and B. May, in accordance with the disciplinary procedure referred to in paragraph A, be dismissed or otherwise removed from office. A person who has been dismissed or otherwise removed from office for a contravention of the provision specified in Clause 2 is disqualified from holding any other state office. Now, remember, just the other day, I talked about the cabinet. and who comprises the cabinet, and the disciplinary measures that might be taken when a state officer or when a cabinet secretary is thought to have engaged in activities that are unlawful either nationally or internationally. Of course, they'll be given time to be heard in the National Assembly. They'll be grilled, they'll be questioned. So if they are found guilty, they surrender that office. Now, that was specifically when it comes to cabinet secretary. Now, there's also this for conduct of state officers, and the cabinet secretary are still state officers. Now, remember, uh, the president might not necessarily dismiss the cabinet because that's what he wanted to happen. But when Kenyans invoke Article 1 of the Constitution, which gives the sovereign power to the people, and the people decide that we don't want that cabinet, we don't want such a person in a certain ministry, the president has no obligation. He has no other power other than doing what the citizens want to be done. Now, as you have clearly seen here, a person who has been dismissed or otherwise removed from office for a contravention of the provision specified in clause 2 is disqualified from holding any other state office. So here comes the confusion. Then why did the president deem it fit to recycle six of the persons who were in the previous cabinet back to this cabinet? Yet they're the persons that Kenyans did say, no, we don't need these people. Now, even you as a Kenyan, as a loyal Kenyan citizen, when names are proposed to be taken to the National Assembly for scrutiny, because these are just proposed names by the president, we should not wait for the National Assembly to conduct those interviews so that we get to know who is involved in what. So we also, this knowledge is public. This knowledge is public. We have the names. Yeah. We know the scandals these people have been involved in. Yeah. The CS who has been suggested for CS Interior, Kithure Kindiki, we know what has been happening in his office. CS Health. Now, the one who has been nominated there is Dr. Deborah Mulongo Barasa. And the allegations about even not paying the license for practicing. Anyway, currently he's somewhere in the World Health Organization. Things are getting murkier. Public Works, Alice Wahome. We know how she has been involved in defending corrupt persons. Yeah. So actually, it reaches a point whereby even people term her as a cartel. Julius Ogamba. Is this the person who was once the deputizing, a governor? Yeah. And we all know how that went. Adentwale goes without saying. I mean, how do you just order the army for aesthetics to come and just do some rounds in the streets while people are protesting? The army should be guarding our borders. Let the police do their work. And even Kindiki himself, how is he being proposed for that specific ministry of interior? Yet justice hasn't been done for those youths who were unalived during the protests of Reject Finance Bill and Ruto Must Go. And the most recent being the other day on Tuesday. You understand? Live ammunitions were used in, in Rai and Kawangware, when they say those police officers who were not in uniform and they were in Subarus and they were shooting aimlessly. Yeah. And actually, I remember of one case of a guy who was unalived. Somebody was protesting so peacefully. Somebody was practicing the constitution. Then the one was being proposed for agriculture, Dr. Andrew Karanja. Environment, we have Soipan Tuya. Water, we have Eric Mureithi. Davis Chirichiri. These people are just Dr. Margaret Ndungum, Rebecca Miano as Attorney General. So, as Miguna says, Viva, this is the time. And when we talk about Occupy State House, people receive threats. They're being told, State House is a no-go zone. Why? Because they literally know that is the place whereby if you make sure you reach at that place, you are done hitting the head. You are done with the government completely. So, as the says goes, Vox Populi, Vox Detio, the voice of the people is the voice of the Lord. So, make sure that you turn in numbers on Tuesday to defend the Constitution, to practice what is rightfully and well enshrined in the promulgated Constitution 2010, the Constitution of Kenya, that gives the sovereign power to you, the nationals of Kenya. It is so disheartening to see some youth somewhere probably been bribed to go and attack the offices of these activists. Mwangi. Why would you go attack someone who is actually fighting for your rights? Should you just retreat, sit down, take your time to read that constitution vis-a-vis the things that are happening in this country? Then shall you come to an understanding of why the youths are agitated, the Gen Zs and millennials, people who grew up seeing their parents suffering because of the same atrocities that we are seeing right now. You even reach a time when you ask yourself, who is actually driving this country? Who is leading this country? Is it really Ruto or is it the mafia? Do we have some cartels that he, as the president, has not been able to contain? This is not an easy fight. We have to struggle. Freedom does not come cheap. Freedom is expensive. Ahmed Khalif is my name for the unscripted talks here in DURB Radio. Now, if you love content of this nature, kindly, if you're watching from YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe and also press the notification button. So anytime that we are live or we upload any content of this nature, you'll be the very first person to be notified. If you're watching from Facebook, kindly follow us, view, like, comment, and share. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuhu.
Kwa timba kali za Afrika, DURB Radio ndio mpango mzima.